Teachers are very familiar with the theory of it. Some teachers are more practiced with the practice of it and using it effectively in the classroom than others. It's still an area that we are developing and learning all the time. It's something that certain teachers find easy to do in some respects, but in other respects find it a bit more sort of challenging. You will see it taking place in lessons. You will see it evidenced. A good classroom to me is a noisy classroom where you can see the learning but hear the learning and the activities going on, so that you have a physical appearance of assessment. You have the discourse, the chatter that you can use for assessment, as well as the work they're producing. It encompasses all sorts of things. It's not linear. You can't put it into little boxes. It's evidence throughout all sorts of things, and it takes a bit of time for a teacher to sometimes relax and think, right, let me do this. Let me leave them to what they're doing, stand back, listen to the conversations that are going on, and use that to assess where they are and feed into my planning on how I'm going to do the next time. Or that's their particular skill. They seem really comfortable with that. Let's take them out of their comfort zone and see what happens then. Or what they've learned in that, can we remove it to another subject? Can that skill from that subject be moved? And that sometimes is a challenge for teachers as well, to take themselves out of their comfort zone and explore how they can assess and the different ways that they can assess, and to let it happen sometimes, and to stand back from a classroom and just look and listen and note. And that sometimes takes a challenge. Sometimes people feel, I need to be doing something all the time. I need to be giving them information. And sometimes the challenge is just stand back, just look at what's happening and listening, and that is quality assessment. I work with quite small children at the moment, so they need feedback the whole time. They need to feel positive about their learning journey. Yes, you are pointing them in a direction, but you need to build up a very good relationship with the child. They need to trust you first and know that you are leading them in a particular way. The children I teach are 5 years old, so that it is a lot of positive and nurture, and allowing them to make mistakes, and that mistakes are good sometimes, and that's how we learn. Sometimes in my classroom, I will make a mistake deliberately and not sort of say, oh, look what I've done, but the children will go, oh, Mrs. White, you've done this. And I'll go, oh, well, what? And they gives them the opportunity to give me feedback and know that it's all right and that I will accept it and that we are in a journey together. In England, I use something called Tapestry, which is an online journal. So I take pictures of the children and I can link it in with the learning goal that we've got for that time. And I can write a description of what the child has done. And then the parent has access to this and can log in and see what we've been doing during the day and what I've written about it and the pictures relating to it. So the parents for our early years have got instant feedback on what that child's done. So when the child goes home, the parent can say, I saw that brilliant piece of writing you did, and wasn't it great? So that there is that link, because especially with young children, the family and the home environment is so important to that child. It's not school and home. It's got to be a link between them. So we've all got to be working to the same sort of goals. So the parents can see what we're working towards by linking in with the early learning goals. But there is also the communication going on that the parent can say to the child, I know what you've done in school today. Because often if you say to a young child, what did you do today? They might tell you they've had potatoes for dinner. Or they might, I don't know, I've forgotten. But it then can open, having the pictures online can open up that discussion with them so that they can feed back and sort of say, oh, well, I did this writing, but next time I might do this, or next time, or Mrs. White said I need to, start my A in a particular place, and we sort of go round the apple and down the leaf, and that's what I need to think about. So they can share that with them. We obviously do a bit more formal feedback to parents. We have parents' evenings. We have those every term where the parents can come in and chat and have a look through the books and things. And then at the end of the year, my class will be sort of graded on a government scheme on when they've reached what's called the early learning goals. And there's one for communication and language, and it's split into different areas, and they will get working towards, achieved, or exceeded. And so they will know exactly where their child is. That I'm more reluctant on, because they're still so young and their journey is still sort of finding its own way. And to say someone's still working towards, some parents might see that as a negative thing, that they haven't achieved the actual level that they need to achieve. But some children don't get there then. They get there further on down their journey. So it's difficult sometimes to make sure parents realise that this is not fail, pass, exceeded. This is just where they're currently at their journey. Further on, you will get whether you're on sort of target, working towards, succeeding or exceeding throughout. My son brings home smiley faces every term, and it will have his learning and which face he's getting and his behaviour, where his face is on behaviour, and his attitude to learning as well. And that's all we get. It's very, very simple. And then in the summer we get a more detailed thing. A lot of English schools also have something which is called an open door policy. And if there's a problem, please come and talk to us. Or if you need to give more feedback, then please come and talk to us. Sometimes it might be a group feedback. It depends what you're sort of giving feedback on. It might be a group feedback on, my children are very small, on how they walked back from the dining hall, and how amazed you were, and how smart you all were, and how proud you were that they were your class. So yes, that's sort of something that you would give sort of group feedback. But if it's feedback that is to improve their learning journey, then it's very difficult to give group feedback. You can always say at the end of the lesson, I'm so pleased with how you've worked today. You've all been on task and you've all completed the criteria. That's great feedback. But that's not going to extend that learner. If you need to give quality feedback, you need to go through. And it might be the next lesson, and you can say, remember when you made that snail? Do you remember when you said that you wanted to use this next time? Do you think you could put it in this piece? And that's what you should be doing. That's your feedback, giving the child the opportunity to use the feedback. In the past, we used to mark books, and you would write in the book, and the child would never read what you've written. That piece of work's been gone. It's out of the way. Further up the school, you mark the work, and then you give a statement for what's your next thing you could do. How could you improve this work? So it might be, how could you improve this work? Or it might be, can you use some more descriptive words? So the next lesson, before you go anywhere, you'd say to the children, right, open your books, turn back to what I've written. Have a read of what I've written. Does everybody understand? Make sure that everybody understands what it is. Right now, I want you to use that in this lesson, and I want you to write for me at the end when you finish your work how you think you've used that feedback. Have you shown what I've asked you to show? And there again, you've got some more physical evidence for other people to see that actually, yes, there has been building on. But for my small children, I don't write feedback for them. We are trained when you do your PGCE, which is your teacher training, you are trained how to do it. But doing training and reality is very different things. So it's something that you learn as you're going along and you're more experienced. And probably being a parent, I've learnt to adapt the way I do it as well, because when you're a parent, you see things differently. So I think every teacher has a bit of a learning journey themselves on how to do it. You know the theory and practice, but when you're dealing with people, you have to weigh up other factors as well to how you deliver it. When you say to one child, oh, do you think we can expand that sentence you've said? Do you think we can add more descriptive words? You should know whether that child can take that. If that child can't take that, you would do it another way. You would say, oh, I've got these words that describe the mountain. Which words do you think we could add to your sentence? Can you think of any others? You have to adapt it to each child. It has to be personalised. One box does not fit everybody, and feedback should be individual. We're dealing with individuals. It therefore has to be individual.